Hello. Welcome back to the Shoe Snob unboxing videos, one take wonder series. Here we are back again with some shoes, and most likely some shoes all of you have heard of, but I have not done a review on. So many of you know this brand, many of you might not need to hear what I have to say about it, but in the hopes to continue doing every brand that I can just to get this content out there and put my 2 cents into everything and explain why, explain why certain shoes are certain prices and why certain qualities are deemed as such. Here we shall continue with a very well-known brand. Let's take a look. All right, so many of you might recognize the green bag, but this is the beautiful Crockett Jones bag in this dark forest green like color. Very beautiful color. Let's pull out the shoes, put the bag away. All right, so as you can see, Crockett Jones being one of the oldest brands today, still around, they know how to do everything right. So branding is top notch, branding is impeccable, bag matches box, beautiful box, solid box. This is their Benchgrade line box. I do believe the handgrade has a different boxing, which again, as I've explained in previous videos, it should, because it's a different product and presentation. So let's take a quick look, say everything. This is the Cavendish II model, which is Crockett Jones classic tassel loafer, the one that sets the standard. So here we go, Cavendish II in the 325 last in the size UK 7E. And it's interesting, there's a date on this. I don't really know what that date means. I don't know if that's when it was packaged, so to speak, which I think is kind of cool. It lets you know how old the shoe is. So yeah, the shoe date is March 13th, 2020. That is, what is that, 15 months ago? 6 to 7, I'm way off. It's like 18 months ago. And that's actually an interesting fact. And I should probably touch on this in another video, but actually I think I will make a second video on that, but let's just stick with Crockett Jones for now. All right, let's take a look at the shoes. Sorry, I was getting sidetracked because I just had a great idea, but I want to make a whole video out of it. So here we go. All right, so no kind of lining, just basic cardboard there. Packaging, you can see, is very to the brim, which means it's well packaged. All right, nice, lots of tissue paper here. We got a divider, which is always good. Just gonna grab, there's no other extra goodies. Again, I grabbed this pair for the sake of the unboxing video. Crockett Jones, this has a store right down the street from me, so I know the manager, and obviously as I work with Crockett Jones on an advertising level, I was able to just go grab a pair for the purposes of unboxing them. I don't know if when you buy a pair it comes with extra goodies. Again, this is not something that is to be expected. This is a plus if it is, and if it's not, well, you're paying for these. All right, let's take a look. So green shoe bags, again, they're a little bit lighter in color than the others, but Pantones across different materials cannot be exactly the same. So let's take a look at the shoes. Now, as a shoe shiner in London, I've handled thousands of Crockett Jones shoes. For guys in England, it is the epitome of a good shoe. It's the standard out there. So time and time again, I've handled C&J shoes. Always been a fan. They are, for me as well, the standard of welting. So when you kind of compare against other brands or strive to be something yourself, using Crockett Jones as a measure is a good way to strive for excellence and to compare against other brands for terms of what quality should be. So Most of you may know the Cavendish loafer. It is Crockett Jones, one of their most famous models, just because it's so classic and so good looking, and is just a very simple, easy model to wear for anybody who likes a tassel loafer. So now, I'm not gonna lie, this is the Cavendish II. I don't know why they created two from one. I never went that deep into the history of the model, but either way, it's made on the 325 last, and like usual, not like usual, this is another story I won't dive into, but for a lot of the brands that are in kind of the not entry level of welted, but kind of the next step, that middle gauge, it seems like they cut loafers tighter psychologically, because again, this is a UK7. In my brand, I'm also UK7 in Carmina, I'm also UK7 in their loafers. So I have a theory on why that is, but anyway, usually I take 6.5 in boots, monk straps, Oxfords, etc. But the 6.5 was way too tight in this, so I went with the UK7, and this fits. I have a little bit of heel slip, but mainly because what I noticed is Crockett has kind of a low cut heel there, so, and I have quite narrow heels. So, but this was the size, the right size for me. Pardon me while I grab a quick sip of coffee. I don't usually work. Today is Saturday, but my business partner's away, so I gotta come. And I'm only gonna sleep in 1 hour more on Saturday. So anyway, back to the shoes. Cavendish II, classic model, beautiful brown. This is, you know, the first video. I'm gonna do two on Crockett Jones because they have two lines. One is the Benchgrade and one is the handgrade. This is the Benchgrade line. So let's take a look at what the Benchgrade line is and what it offers in contrast to what the handgrade line will be. So when you have Benchgrade shoes, you tend to get, you know, a solid welted shoe, but without all the bells and whistles, i.e. details that make the shoe far more finesse, so to speak. So a lot of Benchgrade shoes, you will get straight waist. Straight waist means there's no bevel on the waist. It's a straight, you can just see how straight that is all the way across, and there's no kind of break where you have a bevel. A bevel is the rounded edging here, which is usually in the waist region and then goes back to a straight forefoot edging on the welt. But this is just straight from heel all the way around, no bevel. Again, on a Benchgrade shoe, you tend to get open channel soles, as you see here, where you can see the sole stitch and the channel that they make to create the sole stitch. And in handgrade shoes, you tend to get a closed channel, and I'll explain that in the next video. So, being a Benchgrade shoe, which some might deem as basic, you know, you ask yourself, why do Crockett Jones cost so much? Well, first and foremost, they have history. They are considered one of the greatest shoemakers ever to have been in existence. And they maintain a standard of quality that falls in line with that. Now, you know, there'll be arguments on, are they as good now as they were 100 years ago? But the world was way different 100 years ago, and so was leather quality and craftsmanship, and there weren't as many machines. A lot of things were done by hand. But in terms of, again, the standard of quality today, Crockett Jones kind of sets the bar. When you look at their shoes, you get, I mean, okay, I can't recall every Crockett Jones shoe I ever saw, but the reality was I never really noticed flaws. You get nearly flawless shoes, even in their Benchgrade line, which in reality, you don't get that in Benchgrade. That's not what Benchgrade is. Benchgrade is usually not flawless shoes, but they make a flawless product, so they don't give you all the details of handgrade and hand welted and all that other fluff that people love, but they just give you a perfect shoe. So you're paying more because you're getting just a solid, perfect shoe. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles, but it's got perfectly cut leather, perfectly finished. There are no issues to gripe about here. And it's not because they're my advertiser, it's because it's simply the truth. And I think that's why they have the history they have the loyalty that they have, and they have the reputation that they have, because they just make solid shoes. Now that's not to say that there won't be a pair that falls through the cracks of QC that has a flaw issue on it, because, you know, being that humans work in factories and we all make mistakes, it's just the name of the game. But here, there's nothing to show. What's always been nice about C&J shoes is the leather quality. I'm sure they get their leather from a lot of different countries, but I think they use a lot of French leather. And being that Crockett Jones is probably a large client, I think they get the good cuts from the French tanneries, because I've used French leather and it's not always so consistent. But Crockett Jones has very nice leather. You can smell it. It may sound weird or look weird, but I love the smell of good leather. I love the smell of being in a factory, and you get that reminiscent feel when you smell a high quality leather and a high quality shoe. So again, with Crockett, you get solid shoes, great leather, good finishing, perfect cut. The pattern makers are doing their job. The clickers are doing a great job. Clickers are the ones who cut the leather. You don't see any little flaws here and there. Again, Crockett Jones, inside of their shoe has always, you can see the quality. This is not something you're gonna be able to easily see just from the blind eye. This is something you kind of have to know from years of experience with shoes. But they use a really nice lining. It's really soft and supple. The shoe is very, like, how to put it, strong, sturdy. That's another thing with British manufacturers. Their shoes are sturdy. They're using really sturdy stiffeners. I also wonder if they request thicker cuts of the leather. So when you're buying leather from a tannery, there are different thicknesses of the leather. So, you know, in contrast, Italian leathers tend to be very thin. Italian shoemakers, because that's kind of the point of the whole Blake idea, is you want shoes that feel like there's nothing on you. Whereas British makers, and because England suffers from a lot of rain, I feel like request thicker leather because the shoes always feel sturdier. You know, obviously there's reinforcements between the lining and the upper, but I still feel like they're getting one grade thicker of leather. It's just a theory, again, I haven't proven that, but just based on common sense and how I felt the shoes to be, it makes sense to me. Anyway, the sole is, you know, just a very classic kind of not unfinished, because they put just a neutral color on there. I don't know why it looks like my camera's turning them orange, but really they're just like a nice polished natural color with a little sole detail there on the side that runs along. Very clean soles. You got a lot of nail work here on the heel, which means that's not going to pop off anytime soon. You got the classic Crockett Jones stamp, made in England. Great shoes. You know, I could go on about why Crockett Jones is good, but I think most of you know why. But I wanted to show it here. It always impresses me to see the finishing and the just kind of simple flawlessness. Again, the Benchgrade line is not making all the bells and whistles. It's just making solid, good welted shoes with great leather, no flaws. And yeah, and I think that's why they have the reputation they have, is just being great shoemakers. Cavendish II, great model. In Europe, you see this on nearly everybody. Everybody has a pair. It's kind of an exaggeration, but not really. I love the brown suede version, and yes, beautiful model. So anyway, again, Crockett Jones, they go without saying, they're one of the most famous shoemakers, but I wanted to get a video out just putting my little 2 cents in and telling you why, you know, why the Benchgrade line is the Benchgrade line. We'll talk about the handgrade line. Again, for me, again, I think C&J kind of sets the bar to quality. Whether or not you know, like the pricing on their quality, the fact is they do set the bar to reach when it comes to achieving quality and consistency, because they do a great job. Hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm gonna get that hand grade shoe soon and try to get that out as well. And yes, wishing everybody a great day. And thank you as always for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share the video. That always helps. So we help the shoe industry get better, get bigger, and the real shoe industry, not the fast fashion, you know? Let's support the makers that care about shoes, care about passion, and that's what I'm here to help shed light on with all my unboxing videos, in the hopes that we grow the good side of the shoe industry and people start putting their money towards products that are worth their money and not ideas and names that aren't worth anything. Anyway, thank you again. Hope you enjoyed this video. Take care.